O'Reilly here. Welcome to the No Spin News, Thursday, March 24th, 2022. Stand up for your country. Very happy you're here. I think we have excellent Ukraine coverage and President Biden in Brussels. What is said and what is real are usually two different things. We're going to tell you what's real. And we're going to lead off tonight with the punishment of Putin. So this didn't get a lot of coverage, but by designating Vladimir Putin a war criminal, you change his life. Now, that designation has not been officially made, and that is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. I'm going to walk you through this because it's fairly big. So a war criminal is someone who essentially kills civilians, or tortures POWs, something way, way out of bounds, and that the Geneva Convention condemns. So there is an organization set up to monitor war criminals, and that organization is the International Criminal Court, ICC. It's based in the Netherlands in The Hague. Now, 123 countries have signed a treaty called the Rome Statute to participate in the ICC. 123 countries on the planet. But the United States is not, and neither has Russia. We are not in this group. But this is the group that the Biden administration is referring to when it says that Putin and the Russian military are war criminals. All right, are you with me so far? So even though we're not in that group, because we didn't sign this Rome Statute, the United States did, we can still refer war criminals to them. All right? So Secretary of State Blinken, he's the guy that came out earlier this week, and they're all war criminals, and we know what they're doing, and we have proof to back it up, and we're going to hand it over to the ICC. Fine. I hope they do. They should do it. If you don't know Vladimir Putin's not a war criminal, then you don't know anything. I mean, this guy is driving this war in Ukraine by himself. The Russian government doesn't particularly want it. The Russian people certainly don't. Doesn't benefit them. He's doing it by himself. So in the ICC, a little history before we get to Mr. Biden, who is interesting today in Brussels. 30 cases have been brought to the ICC as far as war crimes are concerned since 2002. So in 20 years, 30 cases. The biggest case was the Serbian leader Milosevic. You remember him. He was basically exterminating Kosovars, people who live in Kosovo next to Serbia. Okay? It was a religious-based war, and Milosevic was a monster. And NATO got involved, and I'm going to tell you that at the end of the program in this day in history, and Milosevic got removed, and then he got arrested, okay? And he went to The Hague. He was imprisoned. He died there before the trial in 2006. So that was the biggest war crime guy in the last 20 years. Now, there have been enough of Africans out of the Congo, a bunch of people like that have been charged with genocide, is slaughtering people. Now, Putin doesn't care about this at all because he knows that who's going to arrest me? So what? I'm a war criminal? I don't care. So what? And he has a point. There is no agency attached to the ICC that goes out and hunts down people and arrests them. Only individual countries can do it. And in Milosevic's case, that's what happened. They swore out a warrant. They picked him up in the Balkans, and they sent him to Holland. So if Putin were to vacation in Great Britain, if he went to London for the weekend, they could grab him. If he's designated, and he hasn't been designated thus far. It's important for everybody to know. There's a designation process that you hand over your information to the courts in The Hague. They make the determination. We all clear on this? Now, what you say to yourself, well, why did he bother? Why did Blinken and Biden bother designating or threatening Putin as a war criminal because it's just the shame of it. It's the shame. Look, Putin and Saddam Hussein are the same guy. There's no difference. Saddam Hussein ruined his country, invaded Kuwait. Well, what? As soon as he did that, Saddam Hussein was a pariah throughout the world. He couldn't leave Iraq. Subsequently, we went in to remove him because of the weapons of mass destruction threat. Okay, he fled. They found him. They hanged him. The Iraqis hanged him. Now, it's not out of the question that the Russians will hang Putin. Certainly not out of the question. It's just a matter how this thing unfolds. Okay, so that's the memo. Here's a quick Ukraine update. These are the most important things that happened today and this week. So Putin's defense minister, a man named Sergei Shoigu, vanished. Gone. They say he's got some kind of medical problem, but I don't think so. I think the Russian military botched in Ukraine and Putin got him out of there. Now, he's probably sitting somewhere, nobody knows where, but that's what I think. Sergei Shoigu blew it because the Russian military is performing so poorly in Ukraine. So Sergei is vapor. I don't know if you'll ever see him again. All right, that's Russia. Second, Putin has banned inside Russia Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. Some people are still tweeting, but it's hard. So Putin doesn't want his own people to know what's happening. So they're not going to hear it on TV and radio in Russia because that's all state run. But on the internet, that's international. This show is international, the No Spin News. We go all over the world. So in order for Putin to block the No Spin News, he's got to block YouTube, Facebook, and all of that, okay? However, the Ministry of Russia still has an open Twitter account around the world. Trump was canceled by Twitter. The Ministry of Russia still active. How about that? Unbelievable. NATO is reporting that 15,000 Russian soldiers have been killed in the 4 weeks of the war. 15,000. How would NATO know? How would they know? Maybe U.S. Intel is getting this information. I know U.S. Intel is good in Russia. We have a lot of agents over there. But when a Russian soldier is killed, they are whisked back to Russia. They're not left on a battlefield and they're not giving out stats. But that's what NATO is putting out. 15,000 Russian soldiers dead. That may be why the defense minister, that's big. And finally, Mr. Biden announced today, and it was a fait accompli before this, 100,000 Ukrainian refugees will be taken by the USA, as we should take them. And those would be most people who have relatives here, and we should do it. Okay, now, here's how stupid, they say Putin's smart, Putin's smart, Putin's smart. I'm going to stop that now. Putin in the past was shrewd. He's not smart. Putin's excuse for invading Ukraine was he doesn't want a threat on his western flank. Now, NATO's moving twice as many troops and armaments into NATO's east, Russia's west, okay? The east in countries in NATO, Poland, the Baltic countries, Romania, Bulgaria, they're all getting a mass of soldiers, battle groups they call them, and armaments and rockets. So the exact thing that Putin didn't want and his excuse for invading Ukraine, oh, you're going to put hostile forces on my border. Well, you got them double now. How smart is that, Putin? Okay. So President Biden goes to the NATO conference. He called it in Brussels. And he pledges America will spend at least, it'll be far more than this, $3.3 billion military humanitarian aid to Ukraine. And you'll have to give Poland and the other countries billions too. In the end, it's going to cost them between $10 and $20 billion, the American taxpayer, to do this. Then they had a press conference after he got through his meetings today. Now, there was a lot of stuff in the press conference, but I think the most important thing going forward is China. The only country that can save Putin now is China. If China gives Putin stuff, whether it be food or he can't give him fuel, China doesn't have that, or other material support, breaks the embargo, breaks the sanctions, Putin is stronger. If China backs away, all right, Putin's going to go down. It's a matter of when, not if. So that's very important. And here's what Mr. Biden said. Go.
China understands that its economic future is much more closely tied to the West than it is to Russia. And so I'm hopeful that he does not get engaged. We also did discuss today that there's a need for us to set up, NATO to set up, and the EU to set up a system whereby we have an organization looking at who has violated any of the sanctions and where and when and how they violated them.
And then what are you going to do? So by implication, President Biden saying if you violate the sanctions toward Russia, then we're going to sanction you. And that's what he said about Xi. He told Xi that if he helps Russia, then we'll slap sanctions on China. And China, as I said, that's tough for them because they're an export economy. All right. They need money coming in, dollars, not rubles. Rubles don't do China any good. Okay. So that's what's holding China back. And it's an effective threat. Now, Biden says, I didn't threaten him. Of course you threatened him. You know? Now, will the world rally against sanctions against China? I think so. At this point, I mean, Putin's so horrendous, and I think they would. If China wants to throw in with Putin, and I don't think she will do it, but I could be wrong on that. Attention-savvy investors looking for predictable monthly cash flow? How about double-digit targeted bonus returns? If you want the safety and security of a real estate investment, but without the hassles of being a landlord, you probably heard of NRIA. NRIA is an industry-leading real estate development firm in its 15th year. They develop in strategically located, lower-risk, high-demand neighborhoods that are based on supply-demand imbalance. They are a great fit for safety-oriented investors who want cash flow and diversification in carefully chosen real estate. So you can learn more about the NRIA Real Estate Development Fund at nria.net, or you can call 800-800-1414. That's easy, 800-800-1414.
An offer of securities is only made by the NRIA Private Placement Memorandum. Read it first. Past performance does not guarantee future results. NRIA is a real estate development firm. Learn more at nria.net.
Now, overall, Biden was okay. I know the people who hate Biden will slaughter him today. He did stammer and stutter a bit. He has some problems with his short-term memory. There's no doubt about that. When fielding questions, he can only take one. He can't take two because he forgets what the second one is. I'm not criticizing, I'm just reporting. But overall, he appeared in command today. He appeared, he said one thing that was flat out untrue about Charlottesville and what Trump said there. Just completely false, but that's what these guys do. Biden doesn't know what's true and what isn't true. He just doesn't know. But now he's presenting a face to the world that at least today was effective. So and there was a reporter that implied that, well, the sanctions aren't going to work. And one of the most important things that Putin said, that Biden said today, was that they will work and we're going to keep them on to the end of the year no matter what. Now, I didn't think that was very smart because you want to give a carrot to Putin to have a ceasefire. But Biden did it. He goes, don't think that these sanctions are just going to go away. We're going to put them on the end of the year at least. I would have given myself a little room there. Now, Putin's got to be punished. But there are other ways to do it. Let's stop this slaughter first, and then we'll figure out how to get this guy in the back end. Does that make sense to you? But Biden wanted to be a tough guy. He wanted to say that, all the NATO countries are united, which they are. He said that Putin underestimated NATO, which he did. So it's all going bad for Putin. So just press the advantage. But in the meantime, People are dying every day. Every day. And suffering is off the chart. But if you up the war, and I've said this many times, more people will die. It doesn't mean you're afraid. It means you're smart. All right. Is that it? If you have any questions, bill@BillO'Reilly.com, bill@BillO'Reilly.com. I think that's the most honest assessment you'll get of the Ukraine situation. We are on it, and we will continue to be on it. So let's come back to the USA. One of the things that Joe Biden has no clue about is narcotic smuggling into the United States. So I remember a long time ago when Donald Trump first became president, I had a conversation with him about the drug cartels in Mexico. And I told or suggested, I shouldn't use the word told when I'm talking to a president, I suggested to President Trump that he might look into designating the Mexican drug cartels as terrorist groups. And I said, if you do that, then you can drone them. And believe me, when you read Killing the Killers, my new book, what do you see? The weapons we have in space. But anyway, I said, if you designate the Mexican cartels terror groups, which they absolutely are, because they're killing hundreds of thousands of Americans, okay, you can go in and kill them. The United States can go in and kill them. We don't need Obrador in Mexico to do it. Anyway, the president, Trump, did that. He brought it to Obrador. He says, I'm going to do this unless you take much more aggressive action against the cartels and seal the border with your military, which Obrador did. That was the Remain in Mexico policy. So Obrador sealed the southern border with Guatemala and the northern border with the USA by using his military. First time that ever happened in Mexican history. And it happened because Trump threatened to designate the cartels as terror groups, and Obrador did not want that. Okay. The moment Joe Biden became president, Obrador pulled all his troops off both borders because he knew that Biden wouldn't do anything to stop the migrants or the narcotics. That was on inauguration night. That's how quick that happened. So now Angus King, you know Angus King? He's the independent senator from Maine, but he's not an independent. He's a liberal Democrat. He always votes with the liberal Democrats. Angus King. Well, Angus King is really mad about all the narcotics flooding into not only Maine, but the United States. Roll it.
Here's what's bothering me. If this were a terrorist cell in Latin America, killing 100,000 Americans a year, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about not enough ISR and allocating it. I'm really absolutely sick of this. This is one of the drug trade is one of the primary threats to this country. It's killing 2 people a day in my state. Who's in charge? What individual in the United States government is in charge of stopping drugs coming from Latin America?
Biden's in charge. Biden. That's who's in charge. Not doing anything. It's an open border policy. Absolute open border policy. So Senator King shouldn't be directing his remarks to the subcommittee on emerging threats. That's what he was doing. He should be asking for a meeting with Biden. Now, on May 12th, 2021, almost a year ago, here's what I said on this broadcast. So on my press tour for Killing the Mob, I tell many of the interviewers who ask about contemporary mob involvement that organized crime loves Joe Biden. Now, why would I say that? Well, since he has been president, there have been more than 450,000, just think about this for a minute, 450,000 foreign nationals who have confronted Border Patrol or ICE agents on the Mexican border. 450,000 in 100 days. So drug interdiction, which comes under Border Patrol ICE, stopping narcotics coming from Mexico, that has evaporated. The cartels are now smuggling more methamphetamine, cocaine, heroin, And the other pernicious drug, I'll think of it, the opioid that kills you, okay, fast. More are coming in now than have ever before in U.S. history. Fentanyl, okay? More drugs, hard drugs than any other time in our history, flooding in because of Joe Biden's crazy open border policy. And Biden has done absolutely nothing to stop narcotics from flowing into the United States. And it's a terror threat. I kind of wish in hindsight that President Trump did designate the cartels as terror groups, because then, as I mentioned earlier, you're going to see the weapons when you read Killing the Killers, which is out May 3rd. You'll see the weapons that we have. Nobody knows what we have. All right. And I had to put it in the book because that's how they're tracking down the jihadists, the ISIS and Al Qaeda's and Boko Haram's with these weapons. You can do this with the cartels. I mean, where do you see these weapons, what we have? So anyway, I thought that was very interesting. You'll never see this reported anywhere else. But it's entirely President Biden's fault that we're flooded with narcotics in this country. If you are stuck in a timeshare and you haven't called Lone Star Transfer yet, what are you waiting for? Lone Star Transfer has helped more than 16,000 happy customers. They are family-owned, have a 99% success rate. Their process is done legally, ethically, and quickly. I mean, does it get better than that? The team at Lone Star Transfer will keep you informed every step of the way until you are legally and permanently released from your timeshare. So don't pay another penny for a timeshare you don't use. Get peace of mind today with Lone Star Transfer. They guarantee the release of all liability to your timeshare in writing and in a specific time frame. Give Lone Star Transfer a call for a free no-obligation consultation. 855-551-7066, 855-551-7066, or online at lonestartransfer.com. All right, here is the final thought of the day, Killing the Killers, out May 3rd. Throw the book cover up. Here, I didn't even know this, but we're in this war with Putin. It's a Cold War now, but you need to know the weaponry we have. And it is stunning. I didn't know any of it. I didn't know any of the powerful weaponry we have and where it is and how it works. Now, I'm not giving away secrets about weapons. I am giving away secrets about how the government tracks jihadists and other terrorists. There's a lot of classified information in this book. But I'm not telling you how to build the weapons. I'm just telling you what we have. And Putin knows what we have, so does she. It's amazing. These weapons, nobody's ever seen or even conceived the stuff that we have. It's all in Killing the Killers, coming out May 3rd. Pre-order it. You'll get it first. BillO'Reilly.com. You get a free sticker. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all of that. Thank you for watching us. New column at Sunday at noon, and we'll see you again on Monday. As you may know, inflation is out of control thanks to the policies of this administration. Retirement accounts are especially vulnerable now. When inflation goes up, your savings goes down. Protect your hard-earned wealth against inflation. Please call the people I trust at American Hartford Gold. They will show you how to protect your savings by diversifying your portfolio with physical gold and silver. They are the highest rated firm in the country with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and thousands of satisfied clients. Takes just a short phone call, and they will deliver physical gold and silver right to your door or put inside your IRA or 401k. Plus, tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you, and they will give you up to $2,500 of free silver on your first order. So please don't wait. Call 866-501-5201. 866-501-5201 or text Bill to 65532. Again, 866-501-5201 or text Bill to 65532.
Bill O'Reilly is back on TV and only on The First. No Spin News, every weeknight at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on The First.